Have you ever found yourself living in a room full of things, yet missing a place to breathe? A packed schedule, a crowded inbox, a phone ringing endlessly, while your sleep remains shallow as rippling water. You have tried rearranging, you have tried being more productive, but after a few days, everything tangles again. Not because you are weak, only because you do not yet have a rhythm to return to. Welcome to Living Japanese Minimalism, where we learn how to live with less but deeper, fewer things but finer. In today's video, I invite you into a 7-day challenge, gentle yet profoundly real, inspired by Japanese minimalist practices and traditions that have helped millions transform their lives through small, steady changes. Not an overnight overhaul. Instead, daily rituals. The way you touch a cup, place a book back, open a window, listen to your breath, slow to see to change. Prepare a notebook and a pen for yourself. Together, we will write down what is worth keeping and release what makes noise. We will let the room speak less so the heart can speak more. We will relearn the art of stopping at the right moment. Eat just enough. Breathe deeply. Walk slowly. Declutter gently. And love even the small cracks of life, because that is where the light enters. A little less, a lighter life. In the next 7 days, you will plant small habits like anchors, pulling your days back into balance. 1 page in the notebook each evening, 1 corner of the home each morning, 1 minute of stillness at noon. Steps that are very small, yet steady, yet deep. And little by little, you will find yourself stepping out of clutter and into peace. If you are ready, open your notebook, write your name on the first page. Inhale slowly, exhale fully. We begin slow and steady, small and transformative. Zen is real. Day 1. Discovering Ikigai, the reason you wake up every morning. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I wake up every morning? Maybe you spring out of bed because of the alarm, because of duty, because of an appointment you cannot miss. But just before your hand reaches for the phone, there is a thin silence, like a layer of mist, where that question quietly appears. In that silence, you may hear a very small voice, very personal, a reason that makes your heart open its doors. Ikigai, the reason for being, is not loud. It is like the first light of day touching the doorstep, unhurried, unassuming, but if you sit down and look, you will see it. Begin the first day with a simple ritual, a clean desk, a blank sheet of paper, a gentle pen. The morning is still free of traffic noise, the breath still whole. Sit quietly with your back steady, inviting body and mind into stillness. Place your hand on your chest, feel a heartbeat. Slow down, then write. Write as if you are conversing with your dearest friend yourself. Write about the things that make your eyes sparkle when mentioned, the things you would gladly do again even when tired. Write about what you do well, as if it were second nature, without display, simply write by being done. Write about the needs you see out there, the sighs, the old questions the world has not answered fully. Write about the values others would gladly compensate you for, so your work not only sustains you, but makes you useful. Let the ink flow. Do not rush to judge your words. It may be clumsy at first, like rummaging through an old drawer, but then threads will appear. Thin, long, certain. When the page has gathered warmth, when the words have grown full, look again, slowly, as if savoring tea. Where what you love overlaps with what you are good at, draw a soft circle. Where your talents soothe a true need in the world, circle again. Where the value you create touches real lives and becomes a resource, mark it. Slowly, those gentle circles will overlap. At the center, a tiny crossing point will shine, so small but bright. Gently you will smile. Take a breath. Write down what you feel in that moment. Write honestly, without beautifying, without exaggerating. It may be relief, like setting down a heavy backpack. It may be tender, like meeting an old friend again. It may still be vague, like moonlight spreading over a still lake. That is fine. Every feeling is valid. These first impressions will be your compass when you return to the page another morning. Feelings are traces of truth. Keep that trace. You may ask why this must be done in the morning. Because morning is when the mind has not been broken by the noise of the day, like a garden untouched by footsteps. In that stillness, you hear yourself most clearly. And why is this ritual so important? Because once you know what you live for, every choice in the day suddenly has an axis to turn upon. Whether an email must be answered, an invitation should be accepted or declined. Whether a task that seems big but does not serve your core, everything becomes clearer. Clearer not because the world is less complicated, but because you now have a compass. With a compass, every path has direction. Ikigai is not a slogan hung on the wall and forgotten. It is a small movement each morning. Sit down, write, circle, record your feelings, repeat. Each day, the circles grow finer, the crossing point sharper. When you live with it, your energy no longer leaks into things that do not belong to you. Endurance is no longer a strain, but an even breath. A goal is no longer a distant mountain, but a step within reach. And then, when the alarm rings on a perfectly ordinary morning, you will touch your phone with a different feeling. Lighter, brighter. With reason, Ikigai is not a destination, but a step taken each morning. Day 2. Hara Hachi Bu. Eating until you're 8% full. Do you know that the Japanese are renowned for living long and serene lives thanks to a profoundly simple eating secret? It is not a complicated diet, nor a magical formula. It is simply the act of stopping. At the right moment, before being too full, before old habits sweep you away. This morning, when you sit down at the table, try listening to your stomach's voice. It does not shout. It whispers gently. There is a turning point as thin as a thread, where appetite transforms into greed. Hara Hachi Bu names that moment. Eat until you are 80% full and set the chopsticks down. Stopping at the right time is an art. Begin slowly, very slowly. Take the first bite as if it were the first time you ever tasted that dish. Touch the aroma, touch the texture. Let the tongue speak to you about warmth, softness, crispness. Chew one beat longer, then another. You will realize that fullness does not lie in a plate that overflows, but in the quiet opening of the chest, in the satisfaction settling into the belly. When the third bite is ready to enter, set the chopsticks down. One deep breath, a little less, a lifetime more. That moment of placing the chopsticks down is the practice for the entire day, breaking the chain of haste, restoring the chain of awareness. Perhaps you are used to eating fast, as if racing against the schedule. But today, let the clock slow to the rhythm of your jaw. Each chew a soft ripple on the lake's surface, calming the mind, allowing the body to record the natural signal of satiety. When taste is rising, we often want more. When fullness begins, we tend to ignore it. Hara Hachi Bu teaches us to reverse that habit. Honor the subtle signs, stop one bite earlier. Knowing enough is true wealth. You may wonder how to measure 80% full without numbers. The answer lies in returning to the body. Between bites, put the chopsticks down, relax your shoulders, and ask your body 3 simple questions. Still hungry? Still wanting? Still needing? Hunger is a necessity. Wanting is a habit. Needing is wisdom. When need speaks softly, you smile, sip warm water, wait 10 breaths before deciding. Most of the time, you will find you do not need more. Awareness always saves. Saves energy, saves illness, saves the waste of regret after a heavy meal. Eating until 80% full is not strictness. It is a discreet beauty. The body digests with ease, blood sugar rises and falls like gentle hills, the mind feels light, sleep drifts in like mist. When the stomach is not overworked, the intestines rest, the liver is at ease, the skin clears, the body feels tidy, like a room just decluttered. You may find it strange that you have more energy, for you are no longer dragging around the burden of overfull, like a heavy pack pressing on your back. One bite less, one day more of peace. The spirit of Japanese minimalism is right on your plate. Fewer dishes, just enough, with attention. When we eat to nourish, not to fill emptiness, food returns to its rightful place. A teacher of gratitude. Each grain of rice is a season of rain and sun. Each leaf of vegetable a farmer's hand. When you set the chopsticks down at the right moment, you say thank you to countless people without a word. That reverence makes the meal pure, and that purity radiates into every corner of your home you wish to turn into a small Zen temple. Try spending a whole day practicing the habit of putting down. Put down the chopsticks when the food is delicious. Put down the cup when you have had enough. Put down the phone when you have finished reading. Each act of placing down is a bell of mindfulness. You will feel the mind has more space, the air moves more freely, time expands between breaths. By evening, when you look back, you will understand why the Japanese believe in 80%. Not because of the number, but because of the grace it carries. Enough is beautiful. And tomorrow, when you sit at the table, you need nothing elaborate. Just remember that fragile threshold. Right before being too full, stop. 1 second, 1 breath, 1 smile. Hara Hachi Bu is not only a way of eating, it is a way of living. Eat just enough to live beautifully. Live beautifully so tomorrow you still want to eat just enough. Day 3. Shinrin-yoku. Forest bathing and reconnecting with nature. How long has it been since you truly let yourself dissolve into nature? Not a rush trip to snap a photo and post it quickly, but a slow walk through a green space where your feet touch soft earth and your heart suddenly feels as small as a drop of dew. Maybe it has been a very long time. Maybe it was just yesterday and you did not notice. This morning, I want to invite you on a journey both very short and very deep. A forest bath, in the Japanese way Shinrin-yoku. You do not need an untouched wilderness. A park is enough. A tree-lined path, a small garden where the sound of leaves gently intertwines. Walk slowly to see deeply. Before stepping out the door, do one simple but decisive act. Turn off your phone, put it on silent, or better, leave it at home. Today, no step counting, no calorie tracking, no checking notifications. Today, we only count breaths. Walk as if it were the first time you had ever walked in the scent of damp soil, in the faint resin of trees, in the scattered notes of birds composing music on the canopy. Each step, a small question whispered into the sole of your foot. What is the earth saying to me? Each inhale, a door opening in the lungs, where the mind no longer has to carry the weight of endless to-dos. Listen, and the head feels light. Give at least 30 minutes to this appointment. 30 minutes belonging only to you and the color green. Do not rush to talk. Do not rush to think. Just feel. Feel the wind slipping through leaves like an old friend paying a visit. Feel the sunlight falling onto your eyelids, warm as a hand. Feel the smell of fallen leaves, of bark, of water resting quietly somewhere like an ancient well. Pause to touch the rough trunk. Linger for a few beats. Let the skin relearn the language of wood. When a thought rises, smile, then release it like a falling leaf. Touch the leaf. Touch yourself again. You may notice your body thawing, shoulders dropping, jaw softening, heartbeat speaking more gently. Inside, a small switch shifts silently to recovery mode. Stress, once like a taut string stretched from brow to belly, loosens, allowing digestion, immunity, and mind to breathe together. No miracle. Only the body finally allowed to do what it always knew, to adjust itself to protect you. Nature heals in the language of silence. If today you cannot step outside, nature can still step inside. Open the window, pull back the curtain, let the light enter more deeply. Place a small bowl of water with a few stones on the sill. Let the moisture soften the dry air. Care for a potted plant as you would a friend. Wipe each leaf until it shines. Turn the pot so it bathes evenly in the sun. Pour water slowly, as if pouring a cup of tea. Place your hand on the soil. Feel its coolness. Rest your eyes on the tender sprout. Feel its calm. Then sit down on a chair. Straighten your back. Inhale for 4 counts. Exhale for 6. Repeat until the rhythm of the room has changed. Bring the forest home with your breath. When you practice Shinrin-yoku, even a corner of a room can become a small meditation hall. A simple mat, a plain wooden chair, a branch in a glass jar, less clutter, more breathing space. Minimalism suddenly is no longer aesthetic, but the ecology of the soul. You begin to cherish space as you cherish a garden. Add nothing, only clear away. Gather no noise, only invite quiet. And strangely, when the space is still, you hear yourself more clearly. You know when to pause work, when to sip water, when to step onto the balcony and wash your head with wind. Stillness is strength. The benefits of forest bathing do not end when you return home. The lightness remains in your shoulders. Sleep arrives earlier, deeper. The mind becomes like a lake with fewer ripples, reflecting what matters most. And tomorrow, when you face your list of tasks, you will no longer dive into the current with old habits. You will choose a slower rhythm, a leaner decision, a schedule with room for breath. Because you have relearned the simple truth the Japanese remind themselves of every day: touch the trees and grass to touch yourself. Touch once, and you remember. Remember, and you are changed. Slow is fast, deep is lasting. Day 4, Chanto Suru. Doing things properly, all the way through. What is the difference between getting something done and doing it the right way? Perhaps it is only a few minutes slower, a deeper breath, a small nod to yourself, before placing an object back in its place. Yet it is precisely that small margin that creates an entirely different life. This morning, when you touch the sink or the laundry basket, try seeing the familiar chore as a subtle ritual. Not to perform perfection, but to live fully in a single act. The Japanese call it Chanto Suru, doing things properly, thoroughly, as if each small task carries its own dignity. Only when it is done right is it truly done. Today, choose just one task. It could be clearing the crumbs from a tabletop. It could be washing the small stack of breakfast dishes. It could be folding the shirts that have dried in the sunlight. Do not choose the hardest job, only the closest one. Then silence what pulls you away from the present. Set the phone aside, free your mind from racing in many directions. Stand upright, let your shoulders drop. Let the warmth of water or the roughness of fabric guide your rhythm. No rush, no distraction. A sponge, a decisive stroke, a fold squared with care. Each motion has a beginning and an end, leaving no loose edges behind. Slow to be precise, precise to be swift. When you wash one bowl, do not think about the 10 that follow. Watch the grease fade like a cloud dissolving. Hear the water tapping porcelain like a gentle greeting. Place the bowl on the rack, let the water drip off like the end of a sentence. Then move to the next with the same respect. No more, no less. When you fold clothes, do not try to shorten the path. Smooth the fabric, fold along a line, align the edges, pat lightly to set the crease. Place it in the drawer, label facing out, like a small gift to your future self. Look back and you will see something simple. When you are fully present, the work becomes kind. Neatness is the highest form of thrift. This thrift is not only about time, it saves mental energy because you do not have to return to fix what was left unfinished. It saves you from sighs each time you walk past a messy corner. It saves you from tiny repeated decisions, because order is already in place. Chanto Suru is like drawing a clear line for your day, where it begins, where it ends, returning the space in better condition than when you arrived. And the strange thing is, the more carefully you work, the lighter you feel. Not strained, but relaxed, as though you had placed a perfect period at the end of a sentence. Finish clean, live light. You may discover a very small but lasting joy. The joy of a tabletop glowing under a damp cloth. The joy of a drawer opening like a neat page. The joy of walking on a floor without the crunch of grit. These joys are not loud, but they spread. They soften your tone when you speak, slow your steps as you walk, calm your gaze when you look around. And then, the house itself begins to breathe differently. Less clutter, fewer half-done things, more finished properly. You touch the spirit of minimalism not by discarding endlessly, but by completing fully, less but refined. If, while working, your mind drifts away, gently call it back with a concrete detail. The warmth on the back of your hand, the rustle of the cloth, the corner half cleaned. Return. Do it again. Finish. When you are done, stand still for a few seconds. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly. Look at the result as though through another's eyes, respecting your own effort. It is not only a clean table or a stack of folded clothes, it is a training of the mind, a lesson in wholeness, a promise that tomorrow you will do things with less noise, less haste, less imbalance. And tonight, as you close the day, remember that gentle feeling, like a lingering note after a song. You did not just finish a task, you did it the right way. Tomorrow, repeat it. It does not have to be grand, just one more task, done thoroughly. Each motion precise, each corner settled, each breath steady. Chanto suru, a small practice, a long transformation. Do it the right way, and life aligns itself. Day 5. Wabi-sabi, embracing the beauty of imperfection. Have you ever felt pressured because nothing seems perfect? The room should be a little tidier, the skin a little smoother, the work a little more complete, and suddenly the day feels heavy. Today, let us slow down and notice something very small, something often forgotten on the road toward perfection. A teacup with a chipped rim, a fine scratch on the surface of wood, a curtain faded by sunlight. These marks apologize to no one. They simply rest, telling time's story in their own gentle language. Wabi-sabi calls this the beauty of imperfection, a beauty that breathes with patience. Not perfect, yet beautiful enough. Choose an old object in your home as you would choose a friend to sit with. Place it in the palm of your hand without rushing to judge. Observe the curve of the glaze, the roughened surface, the odd patch of color where light has passed. If it is a crack, place your finger upon it and hear the faintest whisper. Here once was an impact. Here was a hurried meal, an afternoon of almost dropping, a story whose ending is forgotten. The gentleness of age is like a wrinkle, no longer flawless, but trustworthy. A scratch is a memory. Then sit down with a sheet of paper and write 3 things you learned from the imperfection before you. Write slowly, carefully, as if pouring tea. Perhaps the first lesson is, everything passes, so value lies in how present you are now. Perhaps the second, the old holds meanings, the new has not yet had time to release, like the scent of wood washed by rain, like glaze worn soft by touch. Perhaps the third, you can still cherish and use what is imperfect in the right way, because love does not demand flawlessness. Do not turn the page into a checklist. Let it be a soft mirror reflecting gratitude. Old is warm. When you finish writing, do not rush to put the pen away. Take a deep breath, look around the room you are in. There are corners still untidy, things unfinished, plans out of rhythm. Today, instead of tightening, try loosening with intelligent acceptance. Choose one imperfection within yourself and place it on the table as you did with the cup. Perhaps it is the habit of answering messages late, a trace of fatigue under your eyes, a project you abandoned halfway. Look straight at it, name it gently, then smile. I am not perfect, but I am learning. Acceptance is growth. Practicing wabi-sabi is not giving up. It is a soft discipline. You still clean the room, still fix the squeaky drawer, still replace the flickering bulb, but you do not punish yourself when things are not fixed instantly. You choose to do well within your present ability, instead of delaying for the sake of perfection. A crack can be mended with care. A slow plan can move forward with one small step. Gold is not required to fill every fracture. Sometimes, only a kind gaze is enough. Kindness is the gentlest completion. You will notice that when you honor imperfection, the atmosphere of the room shifts. The hues of time become a soft palette, no longer mistakes. Objects stop arguing with you about standards. They return to their place, to serve, to accompany, to remind. A faded mark on the wall recalls summers of sunlight. A wrinkle in the carpet remembers hurried footsteps from the first day you moved in. When the story is told, obsession quiets. In its place is the peace of someone who understands that life is beautiful because it is lived, not because it is new. Live true, beauty follows. Tonight, before turning off the light, touch that old object again and whisper, "Thank you. Thank you for waiting here, for teaching me this simple lesson of time and gentleness." Then stand before the mirror, let your shoulders drop, gaze long, and tell yourself a sentence short enough to carry through tomorrow. I am not perfect, but I am lovable. When those words fall, you will feel the empty space in your chest fill with something very light, a confidence that does not shout. From then on, each decision feels less forced, each step less demanding, each corner of home less burdened by standards. Wabi-sabi does not teach surrender. It teaches us to release harshness in order to keep what is essential. Enough is beautiful. Day 6. Purification ritual, cleansing your space and your mind. If you want to change your life, begin with the space around you. The saying sounds as simple as a breath, but this morning, I want you to touch it with your own hands. Choose just a small corner of your desk, a shelf within reach, or that drawer you always open and close in haste. Stand before it as if standing before a mirror. Do not rush to fix yourself, simply look closely. The misplaced papers tell of hurried moments. The thin layer of dust is time speaking softly. An item no longer needed is a message that has expired. Clear the outside to open the inside. Begin with an honest question. Does this still hold value for me? Does it bring me joy? Do not force a quick answer. Hold it in your hands as if holding a decision. Shake it gently. Listen for your heart to speak. If the answer is no, thank it for the journey shared and place it into the farewell bag with respect. If the answer is yes, return it to its true home, a clear, easy place, like an address you know by heart. Keep less, keep right. Less crowding, more breathing space. When objects stop arguing about where they belong, invite warm water and a soft cloth to join in. Wipe slowly, wipe with rhythm. From left to right, from near to far, leaving no corner behind as if leaving no part of yourself behind. Hear the cloth rustling on the surface like a pen rewriting a new page. Dust rings disappear, and in their place, the wood shines a tone brighter, like your eyes shining after enough sleep, clean to brighten, empty to breathe. Arrange the few items that remain. Stand books upright, place pens into a slender cup, straighten the chair that was crooked. Do not fill every empty space. Let space simply be space. Emptiness is also content. Now, add a soft punctuation mark. Place a small branch into a clear vase, or light a candle with a fragrance as gentle as tea. No display, no noise. Just a flame bright enough to remind you the rhythm has shifted here. The candle glows like a small heart, reminding you that every great transformation begins with a humble spark. Sit down. Inhale deeply. Exhale fully. Feel the thin fragrance opening tiny doors inside your mind. And then, when the cloth has left your hand, when the objects have settled, invite your body and mind to sit in meditation for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes, but 5 full minutes. Back upright but relaxed, shoulders released, eyes gently closed. Inhale and know you are inhaling. Exhale and know you are exhaling. Count from 1 to 10, then return to 1. When a thought passes, do not chase, do not push away. Nod to it, let it fall like a leaf. Breath is the thread pulling you back to the room now cleansed and the heart now softened. Stillness is strength. Why is this small ritual so important? The Japanese believe the home is an extension of the mind. When a desk has a place to pause, thoughts also have a place to pause. When objects have a home, emotions also have a home to rest. Cleanliness is not only aesthetic, it is the language of clarity, the quiet foundation for creativity. A corner purified today ripples into tomorrow. You will write emails in a tone half a beat slower, make decisions with less hesitation, and step into the evening with lighter shoulders. Each time you return an object to its place, you return your mind to its place. Let this ritual of purification become a living reminder. You do not need to sweep an entire life in one day, only to clear one corner in one sitting. One small corner, one great change. One branch of flowers, a different gaze. One deep breath, an open mind. And even on a busy day, you can still give yourself 5 minutes, wipe one surface, release one item, breathe 10 counts enough to guide the day back to its gentle orbit. Clear little, change much. From today, whenever you wish to transform your life, begin by lightly touching your space, then touch your breath, then touch yourself. Day 7. Kakeibo and reflection. Managing finances and evening mindfulness. Financial freedom begins with small habits each day, not with dramatic leaps, but with steady steps written on a simple page. Tonight, when the room has grown quiet, you sit with a warm cup of tea and open a fresh notebook. This will be the notebook of Kakeibo, a Japanese companion, spare in words yet profound, teaching us how to hold a kind conversation with money. Clear money, calm heart. You write the date in the corner, straighten your back just enough, inhale slowly, and begin with the first question: how much do I truly have today? Not a vague number floating in the mind, but the exact amount available to live for a month, a week, a day. That number rests on the page like a gentle confession. From here, every decision suddenly has ground to stand on. You continue to write, honest, as if telling your schedule to a trusted friend, the fixed expenses that arrive in steady rhythm, rent, utilities, transport, medicine, responsibilities that cannot be shifted elsewhere. Write them clearly to know where you stand. Then you look up, gaze at an empty spot on the wall, and set one small goal for this month, to send something toward the future, to save for a modest dream, or simply to create a cushion of peace so you may sleep more deeply at night. Saving is respect for tomorrow. Finally, you look back at unnecessary expenses, those little things that seemed harmless but slipped into your pocket like scattered breezes. You do not blame yourself. You simply notice. Record them. Place a period at the end. Close gently. All through tomorrow, you will continue this conversation with your notebook. Each time the wallet opens, you ask softly, is this a need, a want, or a habit? If it is a need, you nod. If it is a want, you allow yourself 10 breaths. If it is a habit, you smile and close the wallet. Body calm, mind clear. You set the phone aside while calculating. Let the clock slow down. Let the pen tapping paper become a meditation. No racing, no hiding. Writing is meditation in everyday life. At the day's end, you give yourself 10 quiet minutes for an appointment with yourself. Not to summarize, but to reflect. You ask, what did I learn today from the way I spent one coin and kept one coin? You remember the moment you chose to walk instead of calling a ride because the air was cool and felt a quiet joy? You remember the time you stood before a shelf. The heart stirred, but the hand placed the item back because the goal of saving was waiting on the next page. Put down to gain more. You ask what surprised you. Discovering that writing down a number eases worry, like pulling clouds away from the eyes. You ask which habit you want to continue. Recording immediately when spending. Snapping a photo of receipts to enter at night. Keeping a nightly 10-minute meeting without interruption. The answers fall onto the page, creating an even rhythm. And because this is the 7th day of the journey, you allow yourself to look back with grateful eyes. Not to summarize, but to walk again through images. The morning you set the chopsticks down one bite earlier and felt lighter all afternoon. The tree-lined path where you heard the wind whisper green stories into your ear. The polished desk after a cleansing ritual that brought your mind back to gentle order. The small crack in a cup that taught you the beauty of enough. The task you finished thoroughly that gave your heart a place to rest. All those movements led you here, to tonight's financial notebook, where money no longer makes you anxious but helps you see clearly. Soft discipline creates lasting freedom. Kakeibo is not only columns of numbers, it is a mindful way of living. When you know what you have, what you need, and what you truly value, you spend less but live more. A lighter stomach, a lighter room, a lighter mind, and even your wallet breathes evenly. From tomorrow, you will continue the conversation. Each line of ink, a small seed for financial freedom to grow, little by little. No rush, no display, steady as a heartbeat. Small but steady wealth in peace. At this point, I want you to sit still for a moment, place your hand on your chest, and listen to your breath. Steady as a thin thread, pulling the day gently back into alignment. The room is still the same room, yet your gaze has shifted. Less demanding, more appreciative. In this silence, you can feel something very small, yet lasting. You now know how to choose less but deeper, how to make space for what truly matters. Perfection is not needed. Only what is true to your heart. Enough is beautiful. 7 days are not a final punctuation. They are only a small door opening for you to keep walking, slow but steady, each day with a kind choice, setting down one excess item, keeping one healthy habit, pausing for 1 second before rushing. These changes are thin as sheets of paper, but when stacked, they become a peaceful roof where the mind can rest. You are not abandoning life. You are simply giving priority to what makes you live authentically, less to shine more. If you would like to continue walking with me, share in the comments which moment touched you most, what surprised you, which habit you want to carry into tomorrow. I will read, I will respond like two friends sitting together on a quiet afternoon. And if what you just experienced brought you a breath of ease, you can gently tap. Like as a marker, press subscribe and ring the bell, so we do not lose each other on this journey. Share this video with someone seeking balance. Sometimes, a simple invitation to slow down is enough to change an entire day. Thank you for being here. Until we meet again, in a place with a little less, but so much more depth.